Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video we have some more Ret Paladin rework updates. Quite a few changes coming out on this latest data mine. This is not up on the PTR yet, so I will not be like on the PTR showing anything active in game, just because it's not yet. But I will be doing my first reactions to this. I have read through to kind of get an idea of what these changes are, but this will be my initial reactions to these changes, and there's some really cool stuff in here. Both on the Paladin side and on the Retribution side of the talent trees. So let's go ahead and begin with the Paladin side. So there's some pathing changes, moved Cleanse and Obduracy to row 2. So let's look at what that means. So Cleanse is right here. What you can expect to see is it moved up here to the left of Devotion Aura. And then Obduracy is down here, and I think that'll just be right here to the right of Auras of Swift Vengeance, and that'll probably be there. So they're just kind of reshaping that a little bit at the top. That's where I expect that to be when it hits PTR. Rebuke, Turn Evil is also moved up to row 2, which could be awkward then. Where's Turn Evil now? Right there. So how many things are they having in row 2? Maybe some of these auras are baseline or something. I don't know. That'd be 5 things on that row. That'd be a little bit awkward. But they have, more than 5 things on some rows. So Turn Evil is moved up. Not exactly sure where they would put that. Fist of Justice moved to row 4. Rebuke and Greater Judgment moved up a row. Fist of Justice moved to row 4, and Rebuke and Greater Judgment moved up a row. So here's Greater Judgment, here's Rebuke, so they're moved up each, and then Fist of Justice moved to row 4, so that's moved down. So just kind of maybe reworking this, so maybe Greater Judgment's up here, and then you have Rebuke and Fist of Justice down here, and then Turn Evil moved up. That kind of makes more sense, that when you read all the changes together of where they could be. Seal of Might moved. I'm not going to go through where all these could be at, I guess. Seal of Might and Seal of Alacrity moved to row 8. Obduracy moved before the first gate. Yeah, they already basically said that. And Judgment of Light moved below the 20-point gate. So that's just a slight movement of Judgment of Light. Now let's get into the real changes. Aspirations of Divinity, Seal of Reprisal, and Seal of Clarity removed from the Paladin class tree. These don't affect Ret very much. If you don't even know what some of these are, a lot of these are like the healing stuff. Added face armor and strength of conviction. Well, those are down here later. These are new talents. New talent justification. Judgment damage increased by 10%. New talent punishment. Successfully interrupting an enemy with rebuke casts an extra Crusader strike. I like this. So now you have an even more, like, you should always be interrupting, right? Let's be real. But now when you cast rebuke and you're the one who interrupts, you cast Crusader Strike. And I like the wording of an extra Crusader Strike because there is a talent that we'll get to where your auto attacks become Crusader Strikes, and it's like an extra one. So it's not like your next, like, it's not like going to cancel out your next auto attack. That would be a Crusader Strike. I like that the way it's worded too, to kind of get around that. New talent, Lightforged Blessing. I really love this. I mean, talk about class fantasy. Divine Storm heals you and up to 4 nearby allies for 5% of maximum health. For tank, I mean, this includes tanks, right? Where they have a ton of health. 5% of maximum health per Divine Storm. That is crazy. Who knows how, if this will be tuned differently or whatever. But this is Paladin fantasy right here. As a Ret Paladin, it always felt awkward, like, to do heals and stuff. They're on the global and they don't do damage. It feels good, even if the healing isn't super strong, like super powerful, to do healing passively. That's why I did always like Judgment of Light as, like, again, as a class fantasy thing, because I'm casting Judgment anyways, but I'm healing, I'm helping my team while I'm doing it. I'm casting Divine Storm, I'm healing my team while I'm doing it. I love that. New talent, Crusader's Reprieve. Your Crusader Strike and auto attack range is increased by 3 yards, and using Crusader Strike heals you for 2% of your maximum health. This is survivability. Every Crusader Strike healing you for 2% is just very good. We definitely like that. I don't know if this will be in the meta because it's not like increasing your damage necessarily. So I don't know if it'll always be taken or whatever, but it's certainly going to increase your survivability. New talent, Face Armor. We talked about this. Word of Glory grants 20% armor for 4.5 seconds. So if you do heal yourself, you do have bonus armor, or heal somebody else. New talent, Sanctified Plates. Armor's increased by 20%, stamina increased by 10%, and damage taken from area effects, so basically like avoidance, is reduced by 10%. This is huge. So in most content, I can't imagine you not taking this, just for the extra stamina and for the damage reduction, right? New talent, Strength of Conviction. While in your consecration, your Shield of the Righteous and Word of Glory have 10% per rank increased damage and healing, 2 ranks. So Shield of the Righteous and Word of Glory. So this is more of a tank and healer talent than anything. So this won't really affect Wrath that much. Still pretty cool talent. Seal of Might's been adjusted. Mastery is still increased by 2% per rank, but Strength and Intellect are increased by 2% per rank as well. So that's very good. It's a buff to that. Seal of Alacrity has been adjusted. It's still haste, but now Judgment cooldowns reduced by 0.5 seconds per rank, 2 ranks. So 1 second less on your Judgment with Seal of Alacrity. Seal of the Crusader has been redesigned. Your auto attacks now deal additional holy damage. Your attacks have a chance to cause your target to take 3% increased holy damage. So that was the one on the right side, bottom right. Your auto attacks now deal additional holy damage. Okay. So it's not as strong anymore, in my opinion, but it does increase your auto attack damage. Quickened Invocations has been adjusted. Divine Toll's cooldowns reduced by 15 seconds. I don't know if that was like a holy thing or what, but yeah, that's there now. Judgment of the Light has been adjusted. Judgment causes the next 5 successful attacks against the target to heal the attacker. Okay. Seal of Mercy reduced from 2 ranks to 1 rank. That's on the healer side. Seal of the Crusader has been resigned. Your auto attacks deal additional damage as holy damage. I think we just talked about that. Yeah. So that, it's not perfect. So this is an interesting change. I don't know if this makes it terrible or what. I'd love to actually see with this, like crunch numbers on this and stuff like that. Of Dusk and Dawn has been redesigned. When you cast 3 holy power generating abilities, so I guess, Divine Storm, Word of Glory, Templar's Verdict, you gain Blessing of Dawn. When you consume Blessing of Dawn, you gain Blessing of Dust. I assume that means Dusk. Blessing of Dawn has been redesigned. Your next holy power spending ability deals 20% additional increased damage. This affects stacks. Blessing of Dusk has been redesigned. Damage taken reduced by 5% damage taken reduced by 5% for 10 seconds. So it doesn't do this. So it's definitely not as powerful as it was, at least with the Dusk part of it. The Dawn, I have no idea. New talent, Fading Light. Blessing of Dawn increases the damage and healing of your next holy power spend ability by additional 10%. Blessing of Dust causes your holy power generating abilities to also grant an absorb shield for 20% of the healing dealt, damage or healing dealt. That's actually pretty good. Seal of Order. I guess this is the important part. Blessing of Dawn increases the damage and healing of your next holy power spending ability by additional 10%. Blessing of Dusk increases your armor by 10% and your holy power generating abilities cool down 10% faster. So yeah, mostly the same, but a little bit different. Holy Avenger, Sanctified Wrath, Seraphim, Seal of Reprisal, Aspiration of Divinity, Hallowed Ground, and Seal of Clarity have been removed from the talent tree. I love Sanctified Wrath, but if it means we get rid of Seraphim, I'm happy with it. Holy Avenger, just 3-minute cooldown, just never made sense for Ret. And then some of these are just not as important. Hallowed Ground, so they're giving up on consecration builds. Seal of the Templar has been removed from the talent tree, and its effect built into Crusader Order or Crusader Aura. Recompense can no longer critically strike. That's the Blessing of Sacrifice enhancer. Crusader Aura now additionally increases the ranges of Rebuke, Hammer of Justice, Templar's Verdict, and Crusader Strike, Hammer of Righteous by 3 yards. Seasoned Warhorse, duration increased to 2 seconds, was 1 second. Righteous Protector is now a 1-rank talent, granting 3 seconds of cooldown reduction. Divine Shield now also prevents movement forces, such as pushbacks, from affecting you. Oh wow, so now I can actually save myself on Senarth, and I can actually do Mythic Razagath. That's awesome. Divine Steed has been adjusted. It's no longer on the global cooldown. That's actually a really big change as well there. So that's really cool. So you get a little bit longer horse, and it's no longer on the GCD, which is at least good. It's obviously not that leap that people were hoping for. That's why I did not make a video about it or anything about the leap. I did not see that going live, but we still have time. It could go live. Now let's talk about the Retribution stuff that I think could be quite interesting. Divine Protection is now granted when choosing Retribution Specialization. Divine Protection is baseline. This has been theorized. I mentioned it myself. Divine Protection is now baseline. So, hey, we might have 2 defensive buttons, Divine Protection and Shield of Vengeance. Retribution Specialization gains Blessing of Freedom as a starting talent. So we don't have to click Blessing of Freedom anymore. That's great. If we look here, that means that Blessing of Freedom's up here. So is Hammer of Wrath also started, or do we get to start with both? Who knows? But we don't have to click that button anymore if we want it. So that's one extra. If you're someone who does take Freedom, or you need to take Freedom, you no longer have to spend an extra talent point on that, apparently. New talent, Swift Justice, reduces the cooldown of Judgment by 2 seconds and Crusader Strike by 2 seconds. Not huge. New talent, Light of Justice, reduces the cooldown of Blade of Justice. New talent, Improved Blade of Justice. Blade of Justice now has 2 charges. That has good implications. New talent, Light's Celerity. Flash of Light cast instantly. Its healing done is increased by 50%, but it's now a 6-second cooldown. That's actually pretty cool. Flash of Light cast instantly. Its healing done is increased by 50%, but it has a cooldown. That's pretty cool, man. I didn't even see this when I was reading through it. That's very good. That's kind of like having like a free word of glory every 6 seconds. New talent, Guided Prayer. Oops. New talent, Guided Prayer. When your health is brought below 25%, you instantly cast a free word of glory at 100% effectiveness on yourself. Can occur more than once every minute. Another defensive. I somehow missed this as well. Guided Prayer, that's another defensive, guys. When you're below 25%, you basically, not completely lay on hands, but you pretty much heal yourself up once every 60 seconds. New talent, Unbound Freedom. Blessing of Freedom increases movement speed by 30%. And you gain Blessing of Freedom when cast on a friendly target. That's huge. That is huge. You and a paladin buddy even could like Blessing of Freedom each other every time it's up just to have speed. New talent, Righteous Cause. Templar's Verdict, Final Verdict, and Justicar's Vengeance have a 25% to reset the cooldown of Blade of Justice. That's good. New talent, Jurisdiction. Final Verdict and Blade of Justice deal 10% increased damage. The range of Final Verdict and Blade of Justice is increased to 20 yards. Okay, so they took the baseline Final Verdict from 20 yards, and but there's a talent now where you can, and it's your Blade of Justice as well. So you could Blade and Judgment and everything other than Crusader Strike, really, from 20-yard range. That's pretty huge. New talent, Judgment of Justice. Judgment deals 10% increased damage, increases your movement speed by 10% for 5 seconds, and slows enemies by 30% for 15 seconds. Okay. New talent, Zealot's Fervor. Auto attack speed increased by, that's just Zeal, basically. I think that's replacing Zeal. New talent, Improved Judgment. Judgment has 2 charges. New talent, that's actually really big. If you've played it all on the PTR with the way, wow. Yeah, you're really going to extend your Avenging Wrath. New talent, version, Boundless Judgment. Judgment generates 1 additional holy power. New talent, Teaching of the Light. Not fully implemented. No idea what that could be. New talent, Inquisitor's Ice or Ire. Every 3 seconds, gain 5% increased damage to your next Divine Storm, stacking up to 10%. That's interesting. Now, every 3 seconds, gain 5% increased damage. It stacks up to 10 times, but then you wouldn't be able to cast Divine Storm for 30 seconds. So this is actually a single target talent, to where you're like on your Crusader Strike that's proccing Imperium power, your Imperium power hits a lot harder. I think that would be more of a single target talent. New talent, Blade of Vengeance. Blade of Justice now hits nearby enemies. So that's, we've already kind of seen this. This is the cleave aspect. New talent, Crusading Strike. Crusader Strike replaces your auto attacks. That's interesting as well. So your auto attacks, I assume, then generate holy power, which is obviously with that Zeal thing. Let's increase the holy power there. New talent, a lot of people are happy about this. Blessed Hammers. Throws a Blessed Hammer that spirals outward, dealing holy damage to enemies. Generates 1 holy power, and it replaces your Crusader Strike. That's pretty interesting. New talent, Heart of the Crusader. Crusader Strike and auto attacks deal 10% increased damage, and have 10% increased critical strike chance. New talent, Blessed Champion. Crusader Strike hits an additional 2 targets for 5% damage, 2 ranks. So this is again a cleave. New talent, Divine Hammer. Divine Hammer spin around you, damaging enemies within 8 yards for holy damage over 9 seconds. Generates 1 holy power and replaces Consecration. This is the one people are excited about, Divine Hammer. New talent, Abjudication. Critical strike chance increased by 2%. Hammer of Wrath has a 5% increased critical strike chance and deals 10% increased critical strike damage. So this would be a Vanguard's momentum thing that you're pairing with here. New talent, Aegis of Protection. Divine Protection reduces damage you take by additional 10%. And Shield of Vengeance protects you from 30% more damage. So not only are we getting another defensive, but our defenses are getting stronger. We like that. New talent, Swift Retribution. Haste increased by 2%. Blade of Justice and Hammer of Wrath. Cooldown reduced by 1 second. Huge, again, for that Vanguard's momentum build. I'm guessing they're really going to feed us down that route with some of these things. It's fun to play on the PTR. New talent, Blades of Light. Crusader Strike, Judgment, and Hammer of Wrath now deal holy strike damage. That should be holy and physical damage. New talent, High Lord's Judgment. Judgment causes targets to take increased damage from your next 2 holy power abilities, 2 ranks. So instead of your next holy power ability. New talent, Holy Crusader. Blade of Justice and Exburg now deal holy strike damage. Again, that's magic and physical. New talent, Burning Crusade. Blade of Justice and Exburg now deal radiant damage. So this is fire damage. Fire and holy. So it's all magic, but fire and holy. That is interesting. So this is actually a way, again, where so I'm using the belt right now to go with the fire ring in from the raid. So with this, you actually wouldn't even need the belt anymore. So yeah, that's interesting. Maybe I'll be switching up where my embellishments are. New talent, Penitence, increases the damage of your periodic effects by 15%, 2 ranks. We don't have a lot of periodic effects, so I'd like to know where that is going. New talent, Commanding Judgment. Judgment hits an additional 2 targets. Again, a cleave for your Judgment. So we have cleave for Blade, cleave for Crusader Strike, cleave for Judgment. New talent, Divine Auxiliary. Final Reckoning and Execution Sentence grant 3 holy power. Wow. That's pretty cool. So right now, Final Reckoning, Execution Sentence, the way they are right now, if you didn't know, Execution Sentence had the holy power spent removed. So now they grant 3 holy power. That's pretty big. That is pretty big indeed. New talent, Seething Flames. Wake of Ashes now causes you to lash out 2 extra times for radiant damage. Deals significantly reduced damage to secondary targets. So this is a single target ability. New talent, Physical Presence, not fully implemented. And new talent, Searing Light, not fully implemented. So whether it's the Searing Light or the one above, I think Physical Presence is going to have you do more physical damage than holy. And I think Searing Light or the one above that was not implemented will have you do more holy damage or magic damage. Exburg has been updated. Your Blade of Justice causes the target to burn for 70% of the damage over 6 seconds. And again, that could be radiant damage with a talent. Art of War has been updated. Your auto attacks and Crusader Strike have a 15% to reset the cooldown of Blade of Justice. So it's not just auto attacks anymore. It is Crusader Strike. Now, granted, you might have the talent that makes your auto attacks turn into Crusader Strike, in which case it's just Crusader Strike. It's 15% down from 20%, but I'm guessing that because of the increase to auto attacks, that it's probably going to be around the same. So it was 12%, they moved it up to 20, now it's down to 15. Who knows where that's really going to be? As I've always said, Art of War procs are actually really fun for Ret, and having more of them is a good thing. Final Verdict now has a 15% chance to reset the cooldown of Hammer of Wrath and make it usable regardless of target's health. It was 10%. Again, they are really trying to feed into that Vanguard's momentum spec, which I am all here for. Please, please, I want it. Avenging Wrath. Might cooldown reduced to 60 seconds. Was 120. So, okay, so right now on the PTR, I believe Crusade is only 60 seconds as well. So this is going to be, you either choose Might, which is the critical strike, and you get wings every 60 seconds. And this would probably be really strong in Mythic Plus. And then Crusade, the duration is increased to 35 seconds, but it's still on a 2-minute cooldown. So Crusade is obviously more throughput, but it does have more of a cooldown. Now you get to extend, as long as you can extend Crusade through with your talent or whatever that allows you to extend wings, that still could end up being the better one in most cases. But however, at a 60-second cooldown, you have an absurd uptime. You have like a 66, maybe higher uptime on wings. So 66, you know, like let's just say 70% uptime of might, or like a, you know, 45 to 50% uptime of crusade. You know, it's kind of like a interesting choice there. Obviously one's going to be better than the other. Sanctified bonus damage reduced to 25%. That was the consecration thing. This will probably no longer be useful at all for single target. Consecrated Blade has been updated. Blade of Justice has a 40% chance against consecration on target's location, and it replaces consecration. Okay, so that's good. So this is a talent that I would take anyways, just because it's one less button I have to bind, right? So my Blade of Justice just cast consecration 40% of the time, and I no longer have consecration as a button. So this is something I'm going to be taking. Vanguard's momentum has been updated. Hammer of Wrath has 2 extra charges, deals 10% increased damage on and on enemies below 20% health, generates 1 additional holy power, and it has 2 ranks, so 20% and 2 additional holy power. It is absolutely bonkers on the PTR, and I am here for it. Wake of Ashes cooldown reduced to 30 seconds. It was 45 seconds. Just kind of like a better, you know, Wake of Ashes. I think they're kind of just trying to get rid of Radiant Decree and make Wake of Ashes like and be able to do everything. I'm fine if that's what they're doing. Executioner's Will now also applies to Final Reckoning. So I'm not sure exactly what that means. I can probably look real quick. Executioner's Will applies to Final Reckoning. A Templar's Verdict extends the duration of execution sentence. Oh, so it also extends Final Reckoning. So you would want to combine those two then. That's interesting, because if they're trying to go into... So I guess this would be more of like a multi-target, like a cleave or multi-target build, and then like for straight single target, maybe they're having you try to go down the Vanguard's Momentum. But the Vanguard's Momentum is so good. I just don't know. I can't picture a way of not using it right now. And then Truce Wake also now causes Wake of Ashes to burn targets for additional radiant damage over 10 seconds. So I believe what that's saying, though, based on what I've seen, is that basically they're just putting Truce Wake into Wake of Ashes. It's just baseline now. Like, so it's not a talent you have to take. But this is crazy. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff, right? There's a lot to take in. There's stuff that even when I read through it the first time, I'm reading through it now, and I'm just noticing things. And I probably missed some things reading through it again just now. These are a lot of changes. This is going to reshape everything about the spec. Everything's going to change. You know, Dusk and Dawn might not be good anymore. You know, the way the talent tree works, that's fine. They might not have us. I initially didn't think they wanted Ret to go that side. And the way the talent tree is set up now, you know, we could be running Divine Purpose with Zealot's Paragon, and then Alacrity, Might, and then Divine Toll baseline as well, and everything on the right side. Who knows? It's going to shake up everything. The trees are going to look different. Everything's going to be different. As I've said, I'll be here with you every step of the way. You know, so you can be ready for this, so you can know, oh crap, this talent does this. I know that, you know, I've helped some people with their talents and stuff like in game, and you know, they've had an increase of their damage, and I'm going to try to be helping everybody with the ret stuff. I know on YouTube there's not a ton of ret people doing YouTube content with this huge rework. That could change, but I'll be doing my best. Obviously I'm a busy guy in real life, but I'll be doing my best keeping up with everything, and you know, trying to be going through every single step of the way with this rework. So I'm really excited about it. As someone who's played Ret Paladin since Warlords now, because I started out maining a warrior, but I've mained Ret Paladin since Warlords of Draenor. This is just hugely exciting for me. So as always, I do ask you, please subscribe to the channel, because that helps me out a lot. And other than that, everybody have a good one.